Imagine this. March 2026, exactly 4 hours ago at 1402 UTC, every human being on Earth felt the same thing at the exact same second. I'm not talking metaphorically, and I'm not talking about some viral internet trend. I'm talking about a measurable, physical vibration, one that registered on every seismograph from Tokyo to New York and simultaneously reverberated in the temporal lobe of every mind on the planet. Pause and think about that. Every single one of us, attuned to the same rhythm, in a moment so precise it defies ordinary comprehension. At first, the United States Geological Survey classified this as a global seismic event. That theory collapsed within minutes. Why? Because earthquakes travel as P waves and S waves, and those waves take time to move through the Earth's crust. This event, it was instantaneous. London, Mumbai, Antarctica, it all happened in the same microsecond, precisely at 1402 and 15 seconds. That violates the basic principles of geophysics. This was non-local. The source wasn't shifting tectonic plates, and it wasn't an asteroid impact. NASA's Deep Space Network triangulated the origin. It came from an object known as 3 Atlas. Here's where it gets chilling. The frequency of the pulse was exactly 40 Hz. As a physicist, I treat numbers cautiously until verified, but 40 Hz is no ordinary number. In neuroscience, it is the gamma wave frequency tied to high-level cognition, memory binding, and consciousness itself. Picture this. An object millions of miles away just sent a pulse that matches the operating frequency of the human brain. The odds of a random comet producing a coherent, planet-wide pulse at exactly 40 Hz? 1 in 400 trillion. Not a coincidence. A key turning in a lock. European Space Agency data confirmed that 3 Atlas didn't just emit a signal, it physically vibrated. The comet's nucleus oscillated, and for 12 seconds, the Earth resonated in sympathy. If you felt dizzy or had a flash of clarity at 1402 UTC, you weren't imagining it. You were receiving data, and here's the haunting question. Why did it target a biological frequency? Everything in the universe is vibration. String theory tells us that matter, at its most fundamental level, is strings vibrating at different frequencies. What we experienced wasn't background noise, it was a specific chord, played deliberately. NASA's instruments show that the pulse wasn't chaotic. Seismometers, gravitational wave detectors, and neutrino observatories all confirm it. A perfect 40 Hz sine wave appeared everywhere at once. Not nature, this is structure. This is deliberate resonance. 3 independent sources confirmed it. NASA's Goldstone Deep Space Network detected the strobing pulse in 3 Atlas's coma. ESA's Euclid telescope noted gravitational fluctuations matching the pulse. IceCube in Antarctica recorded a high-energy neutrino stream arriving at the exact millisecond the vibration began. 3 Atlas acted like a cosmic tuning fork, and Earth was the resonator. The energy required to force the planet's natural Schumann resonance, normally 7.83 Hz, to 40 Hz from millions of kilometers away, is staggering. This was a directed energy event, a planetary scale modulation. And here's the kicker. 3 Atlas moved at 110,000 kilometers per hour, yet the signal was perfectly flat, locked in frequency. It compensated for Earth's rotation, light time delay, and its own motion. Real-time calculation, feedback loops, awareness. The raw data from the Green Bank telescope reveals micromodulations embedded in the 40 Hz tone, a symphony within a single note. The physics community is in quiet panic. Magnetars are silent. The sun is quiet. Nothing but 3 Atlas is active. And remember, 40 Hz is consciousness itself. This is not chaos. This is entertainment. Earth, humanity, and a distant comet synchronized for 12 seconds. But why? The implications are staggering, and we are just beginning to scratch the surface. But why? The implications are staggering, and the story only deepens from here. Because while the vibration stopped after 12 seconds, the connection did not. Instruments show that a channel remained open, a faint stream of data still flowing into Earth's upper atmosphere. It's faint, encrypted in the background radiation, almost imperceptible, but it's there. And when scientists deciphered the first packet, what they found should have been impossible for a comet to know. This was not random noise, it was a response. To make sense of it, we must abandon classical astronomy for a moment and think like quantum physicists. In classical physics, comets are rocks, planets are rocks. They orbit, they collide, they pull. Simple, mechanical. But in quantum mechanics, and specifically in string theory, nothing is solid, everything is a vibration. Every particle, every atom, every part of 3 Atlas, every particle in your body is a tiny vibrating string. The only difference between a proton and a neutron is frequency. The universe is a symphony of strings, usually chaotic, usually independent, but sometimes, rarely, systems synchronize perfectly. At 1402 UTC, that synchronization happened across millions of kilometers of vacuum. 3 Atlas didn't just vibrate at us, it vibrated with us. Think of a room full of grandfather clocks, their pendulums swinging at random, eventually aligning in perfect unison through tiny vibrations. That is spontaneous synchronization, a law of physics. But to happen across space like this, that requires a medium we don't understand, or technology beyond anything humanity has created. Chandra X-ray Observatory data adds another layer of mystery. The comet's X-ray emissions spiked the instant Earth's magnetic field resonated. Zero delay. Light takes minutes to travel from 3 Atlas. Gravity waves take minutes, but this effect was instantaneous. It defies Einstein's theory of relativity. Nothing travels faster than light, unless quantum entanglement is involved. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. Could 3 Atlas be entangled with Earth? Could this comet share a quantum history with our planet, formed from the same primordial cloud 4.5 billion years ago, dormant until today? The numbers suggest yes. This explains why humans felt the pulse, why seismographs registered it instantly. This was not a wave traveling through space. It was a change in the state of matter itself. The 40 Hz frequency wasn't just a broadcast, it was a reset. And there's more. Analyzing the harmonics, the overtones, the faint echoes of the 40 Hz signal reveals a pattern. Fibonacci sequence, golden ratio, nature's language, sunflowers, galaxies, hurricanes. But encoded in a high-energy pulse? That suggests intelligence, or at the very least, a highly ordered physical process we have never encountered. For decades, scientists have speculated about civilizations. Type 1, controlling a planet. Type 2, controlling a star. Type 3, controlling a galaxy. Humanity isn't even type 1. We are 0.7. Yet what we just witnessed, planetary synchronization from deep space, bypassing lightspeed limits, resonating with consciousness itself, this is type 2 capability. Or perhaps it is a law of physics so far beyond our understanding that we cannot even recognize it. Perhaps the universe is far more interconnected than we ever imagined. The evidence doesn't stop there. Global consciousness projects, which track random number generators worldwide, dropped to 0 for 12 seconds during the pulse. Randomness ceased. Thoughts, heartbeats, tectonic plates, and a distant comet were part of the same equation. The message is clear. Consciousness is not just chemical, it is universal. This realization transforms the event from a physical mystery into an existential one. And there's a window. 3 Atlas will reach perihelion, its closest point to the Sun, in 36 hours. The 40 Hz pulse appears to have been a handshake, a calibration. The energy inside the comet is still building. The vibration hasn't stopped. It has just moved beyond human perception into ultrasonic frequencies. It is charging. What happens when it reaches full capacity? 20 minutes ago, the James Webb Space Telescope sent data that stunned astronomers. It wasn't just energy, it was structure. The 40 Hz spike, zero delay synchronization, global consciousness data, all of that occurred hours ago. But JWST revealed something far more startling. The comet contains complex organic molecules, peptide chains, the building blocks of proteins, life itself. Not just methane or amino acids, but the foundations of biology encoded in a celestial object. And it doesn't end there. 3 minutes after JWST's chemical analysis, the comet transmitted again, not a 40 Hz pulse, but a digital sequence. NASA's decoders discovered it mirrored a segment of humanity's 1974 Arecibo message, but with a twist. The double helix of human DNA was modified. Where we sent 2 strands, the comet returned 3. This wasn't a coincidence. This was recognition, and perhaps, suggestion. The implications are staggering. Millions of miles away, an object acknowledged humanity, intercepted our message, understood our biology, and responded. Governments remain silent. But the data is leaking through astronomers and encrypted channels. 3 Atlas is not a rock. It is a probe. It is slowing down. It is entering a stable orbit. It is here. And its purpose? Still unknown. Let's establish the facts. At 1402 UTC, a global vibration synchronized human consciousness at 40 Hz. The signal bypassed the speed of light, suggesting quantum entanglement. 3 Atlas contains complex organic molecules, and it has now decelerated into a stable orbit. Most critically, it responded to humanity's 1974 Arecibo message with a modified DNA blueprint. These aren't theories or speculations. They are documented observations from the last 4 hours. But one question remains, has the signal truly finished? Current energy readings from the Chandra Observatory say no. The initial pulse was just a handshake, a preliminary hello. The real transmission is only beginning. As we speak, radio telescopes in Australia and South Africa are picking up new frequencies, not 40 Hz this time. These signals are rising through the spectrum, 432 Hz, 528 Hz frequencies that naturally occur in water, in biological systems, in the very vibrations of life itself. There is a sequence emerging, a process unfolding, a message being communicated directly into the planetary biosphere. Some physicists theorize that the first pulse synchronized human consciousness, and the second may be seeding information, embedding instructions into the biosphere itself. Others fear the implications could be more severe, a terraforming signal, a command designed to alter fundamental environmental constants. The truth is, we cannot yet interpret the full meaning. What we can do is watch, we can listen, and we can prepare for the unexpected. Remember, the universe is 13.8 billion years old. Humans have been listening for signals for less than a century. We are children in a dark forest. Today, someone or something lit a match. And unlike any other event in our history, the match has not gone out. 3 Atlas continues broadcasting. The data stream is active. The message is complex, structured, and deliberate. Whatever it is trying to communicate, it has already begun to interact with our world. The synchronization of the 40 Hz pulse was not random. Millions of people reported a simultaneous sensation, a moment of clarity, a sudden activation, a switch being flipped in their minds. Physicists call this entertainment, when a dominant rhythmic vibration causes weaker systems to align in perfect resonance. In this case, Earth, human consciousness, and a distant comet were aligned for 12 seconds. But that alignment is now ongoing, subtly. The comet has shifted its signal into ultrasonic frequencies, rising in intensity. It is preparing, and the planetary response is already in motion. Consider the scale of this event. 3 Atlas moved at 110,000 kilometers per hour, yet its pulse was perfectly locked, compensating for the rotation of Earth and the time delay of light. That requires real-time calculation, feedback loops, and astonishing precision. The object seems aware, responsive, and deliberate. It is not simply drifting through space, it is acting with purpose. Each micromodulation embedded in the signal suggests intelligence, or at least an unprecedented level of order in a physical process. The revelation from JWST that the comet contains complex organic molecules takes the mystery to another level. Peptide chains, the foundations of proteins, the very building blocks of life. And when the comet responded with a modified DNA sequence, it did not just acknowledge our existence, it suggested a possible alteration. This is communication, comprehension, and a biological message all at once. We are no longer observers. We are participants in a dialogue, initiated by an object millions of miles away. Governments remain silent. There are no press conferences, no viral alerts, no official explanation. But scientists, astronomers, and researchers on private networks are all seeing the same thing. 3 Atlas is not a rock, not a simple comet. It is a probe, an entity with purpose, responding to our messages, manipulating energy fields, and communicating with unprecedented precision. Its deceleration into orbit indicates it intends to stay, to continue transmitting, to maintain contact. The question now is not whether it is intelligent. Evidence suggests it is, but why? What is the objective of a probe capable of synchronizing consciousness, encoding messages into biological systems, and modifying molecular structures? Is it an experiment, a warning, a gift, or something beyond comprehension? The answers are unknown. What we do know is that humanity is witnessing a first contact scenario unlike anything in recorded history, and the consequences are only beginning to unfold. The 40 Hz pulse was only the beginning. Now, as 3 Atlas continues its orbit, the signals are climbing the frequency spectrum 432 Hz, 528 Hz, and higher. These are not random numbers. These are harmonic frequencies found in nature, in water molecules, in the very chemistry of life. They suggest a deliberate sequence, a process unfolding across the planet, resonating with the biosphere itself. Scientists are scrambling to model the potential effects. Could this be a message encoded in sound, light, and energy? Could it be a transmission aimed directly at life itself? The possibilities are as breathtaking as they are terrifying. Some theorists propose that this could be a biological handshake, a way to synchronize cellular activity, or even influence human cognition. If the 40 Hz pulse synchronized global brainwaves, these rising harmonics could carry instructions deeper, at a molecular or biochemical level. Every pulse, every modulation, every overtone could be a code, an alien sequence embedded in the environment, subtly interacting with our biology without our conscious awareness. If true, humanity is no longer a passive observer. We are the target, and the experiment is active. Meanwhile, the comet itself is behaving in ways that defy classical physics. It has decelerated into a stable orbit, but its energy levels continue to rise. The ultrasonic vibrations it emits are too high for human ears, yet sensors across the globe are recording shifts in electromagnetic fields, gravitation, and even the Schumann resonance. Earth's natural 7.83 Hz heartbeat was forced to 40 Hz by the initial pulse. Now, these higher frequencies may begin interacting with our environment in ways we can't yet measure. It is as if the planet itself is being tuned, one harmonic at a time, by an object millions of kilometers away. Astronomers are watching in awe and fear. Instruments designed to detect chaos are showing order. Random number generators drop to 0 globally during the initial pulse. Now, subtle patterns are emerging in atmospheric data, geomagnetic readings, and even ocean currents. The comet's influence seems to extend far beyond its physical location. The energy required to manipulate Earth's electromagnetic field, to orchestrate such precise harmonics across vast distances, suggests technology far beyond our comprehension, or perhaps a natural law of physics we have yet to understand. Then there is the data from JWST and other space observatories. Complex organic molecules, peptide chains, the building blocks of life, were detected in the comet's nucleus. When the comet transmitted back a modified DNA blueprint, it wasn't just acknowledging humanity, it was interacting with our biology. This is not a distant message, it is a direct engagement, a connection that spans light minutes of space. It hints at intention, intelligence, or an extraordinary order embedded in the cosmos itself. The scientific community is divided. Some argue that we are witnessing a new type of celestial physics, a convergence of quantum entanglement, resonance, and cosmic synchronization. Others believe we are encountering the first definitive evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence, manipulating energy, matter, and biology across interplanetary distances. Either way, the implications are profound. Consciousness is not local, life is not isolated, and the universe is far more interconnected than previously imagined. And yet, humanity remains largely unaware. Governments have gone silent. There are no official updates, no press releases, no warnings, only scientists, researchers, and astronomers tracking the event in real time have access to the unfolding data. Meanwhile, the comet continues to broadcast, sending rising harmonics, structured sequences, and what may be an ongoing transmission of information or influence. We are inside the experiment now. As you watch this, 3 Atlas is active, its signals climbing in frequency, interacting with Earth, humanity, and the biosphere in ways we cannot yet fully predict. The first pulse synchronized our brains. The rising harmonics may now begin influencing deeper biological and environmental processes. The planet is resonating, life is responding, and the comet is listening, calculating, and continuing its broadcast. We are on the threshold of a new reality. Humanity has just had its first direct contact with an object capable of resonating with consciousness, encoding messages in biology, and manipulating planetary energy. What happens next is uncertain. But one thing is clear. The universe has just sent us a message, and it is far more deliberate than anything we could have imagined. We are witnessing something unprecedented. 3 Atlas is no longer just a comet. It is a presence, a probe, a force actively interacting with Earth and life itself. The initial 40 Hz pulse awakened global consciousness. The rising harmonics 432 Hz, 528 Hz, and beyond are not simply signals. They are sequences, structured vibrations designed to interact with the planet and the biosphere. Every moment, the data streaming in from the radio telescopes, the observatories, and the deep space sensors reveals a system far beyond our current understanding, a system capable of orchestrating matter, energy, and consciousness across astronomical distances. Consider the implications. If the 40 Hz pulse aligned brainwaves, if the rising harmonics are influencing molecular structures, then humanity is no longer isolated. We are being engaged on a biological and cognitive level. The modified DNA blueprint transmitted back to us suggests the possibility of a biological upgrade or perhaps a warning. The sequence, the pattern, the synchronization, it is intentional, deliberate, and unmistakably structured. This is not random cosmic noise. This is a message, a dialogue, a calibration of life itself. The scale of the technology or the natural law behind this is staggering. To synchronize an entire planet with a comet millions of miles away, to bypass the speed of light, to encode signals directly into consciousness, and to manipulate matter and energy with precision, requires capabilities humanity can barely conceive. We are witnessing either a civilization far beyond our type or a property of the universe we have never detected. A Type 2 civilization could harness this energy, but could it be that the universe itself is more conscious, more connected, more deliberate than we ever imagined? And yet, the signal continues. Every harmonic, every micromodulation, every subtle variation is a part of a larger sequence, a pattern embedded in the fabric of reality. Observatories confirm that the comet's energy is rising, moving beyond human perception into the ultrasonic, the energetic, the biological. Every molecule, every particle, every living system on Earth is subtly being influenced. The Global Consciousness Project shows that for brief moments, randomness ceased. Now, patterns are emerging in everything from seismic activity to atmospheric fluctuations. The planet itself is responding. This is more than first contact. This is a fundamental challenge to our understanding of consciousness, life, and our place in the cosmos. If a comet or a probe disguised as one can communicate directly with us, encode instructions in our biology, and synchronize global brainwaves, then consciousness is not a local phenomenon. It is a universal property, entangled with matter, energy, and the rhythms of the cosmos. For the first time, humanity is directly connected to the greater symphony of the universe, and the implications are staggering. The question now is, what comes next? The initial pulse was a handshake, the beginning of a conversation. The rising harmonics are the opening lines of a message written across the planet, through consciousness, and into life itself. The comet has slowed, entered orbit, and is actively transmitting. What we do in response, how we interpret, how we adapt, how we observe, may determine the next stage of human evolution. Are we merely witnesses, or are we participants in a cosmic dialogue that could reshape life as we know it? As you absorb this, consider your place in this extraordinary event. You are part of the planet that was synchronized. You are part of the biosphere that is receiving the sequence. You are living through a moment when the universe has reached out, not metaphorically, not symbolically, but physically, biologically, and consciously. Humanity is on the threshold of a new reality, one where the boundaries between life, consciousness, and the cosmos are no longer clear. The clock is running, and the comet is broadcasting. Every observation, every measurement, every pulse brings us closer to understanding or confronting the unknown. What is the purpose? What is the message? And most importantly, how will humanity respond? These questions are not theoretical, they are immediate. The universe has spoken. The signal has begun, and now it is up to us to listen, to learn, and to act. If you want to stay informed as this story unfolds, witness the data, and understand the implications for humanity and consciousness, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and follow every update. The universe has reached out, and the conversation is only beginning. Don't miss a single moment.